There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits, you can break me down, but I'll stay till the finish line. And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, to see you again, see you again. We got millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken. I know I'm not always strong. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, to see you again, see you again.
side when we put our trust in things of this material world, of things that fade away. Let me keep coming back, 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 of things we know. Feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me. So alive, make it last forever. Stop in time, yeah, I'm surrendering. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me.
This is the end sign of this recording. Please contact us.
I just have one question. Ordered.
No, he looks like he's smiling at something that we don't even. Maybe
Yeah,
he's
that's
got
fine.
a
By the way, sorry it's starting late. I just had to run to the store. Let me load up my chat and then everything will be great. And
Hello,
my
chat
mom,
people.
I had to talk to my mom because she saw the thing that I put up of BDSM and kids, and she's like, they're not teaching BDSM to kids. I'm like, no, it's a photo. So sorry guys, I'm sorry for being late. Let's check out the chat. We've got Carl Chan III. Hello. We've got a cryptic penis. We've got interestingness. We've got let's see, scrolling. We've got a Cuban in the chat, but she's up here.
Hello.
Green Thunders.
Hello.
Am I missing anyone? Mr. Misanthropic, but he's here.
Hi.
We've got a trucker, right? We do have a trucker, right?
Says that he'll come
Nope,
back
we don't have a
later.
trucker yet. Uh-oh, what happened? So we don't have a
said
trucker
he'll
and we don't
come-
have a Scotty. So let's see what happened to the trucker.
He said it was asking if you were going to let him in the side chat, and then I said that you were out getting smokes, and he said he'll come back later.
Oh. Okay, fair enough. Well, whenever trucker comes back, I'm super sorry that I had to go to the store. I would have been back like super earlier, but then mom called and she was like, "Oh my god, BDSM and kids?" And I'm like, "No, not really. It's just a picture I saw that was just terrifyingly terrible."
You should have just told her you'll have to watch my show to figure it out.
Well,
Yeah.
she's apparently, quote, transcribing things for a job, so she, can't be here, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. I don't care. It's all good. Trucker! Which yard is it?
The one in the blind trucking chat.
Yeah, I can repost the link if you want, Trucker, to make it easier for you. But it is in the blind trucking thing. I'll send it right to your Kenny Kenilworths.
It's Kensworth.
Kensworth.
Oh, Kensworth. I thought it was Kenilworths.
No, it's Kensworth.
I can't read, apparently.
Well, obviously, but I guess your screen reader can't read.
Something like that.
Or Siri or
Both
whatever the fuck
are-
it is that reads shit for you.
Both are in it ding dong. What do you... That's hilarious. I sent it directly to you so that, Okay. Oh, we have the trucks. Hello, truck.
Hello.
Both of the yards are in it, ding dong.
Hello.
Well, I meant the one that Blind Girl had posted.
All right.
Well,
so,
I figured that I kind of figured since there was absolutely no sound coming through the other one, you must have been using the old one.
Let's see. Ding dong. So, I don't know much about this topic. It just kind of like went through my
boy.
newsfeed. And so I asked Trucker, I'm like, Trucker, how much do you know about all of the big higher ups in the NRA leaving? And do you know, what do you know about it?
Okay, for the most part, there's been a lot of overspending, preferential treatment being given to vendors, outside contractors for the NRA, to the point of it's almost embezzlement. It's the stuff. The stuff Trudeau's actually in trouble for doing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are being accused and may very well be guilty of the same thing as far as the NRA.
Well, that's not good.
Now, no, it's like no bid, overpriced contracts, overpaying for meetings, for dinners, for various contracts. A lot of people into higher ups were treating the NRA like their personal piggy bank.
Oh.
And
Not surprised.
To the point where if they actually sit and do a lot of digging, the possibility of embezzlement may actually be a viable thing. Now, I don't know that much about it, but that's what I've heard from it. Now, if anybody in the chat were to go to, we'll go ahead and call this a plug, but if they go to Liberty Doll's channel on YouTube, she actually did a video about it several weeks back that kind of explained it. Now, mind you, what's happening is, unfortunately, it wasn't too big of a deal as far as the viability of the NRA, but unfortunately, all this overspending for all this stuff has put them in a position where, which one of the Cuomo brothers was it that's actually New York?
Fuck, fine though.
I'm not sure.
There's
I think it's Andrew. If I'm not, that sounds
So
right,
it's
doesn't
Andrew?
it? I
well,
think.
which one of the Cuomo brothers got called Fredo the other day?
Chris Cuomo, whatever the fuck his name is. Chris.
That was Chris. So it's Andrew Cuomo is was it mayor or governor of New York?
Yes.
Dog shit out of me.
Which, side note on that, the bigger brother actually came out to defend the little brother, which is just freaking hilarious. But anyways, continuing on NRA stuff.
Yeah. So what's happened is one of the Cuomos, the Cuomo that's either mayor or governor of New York, that's actually a politician and not a CNN spokesperson, has they've actually started levying just dozens of fines against NRA for what's been passing of punishing the NRA, and so they've been fighting the NRA over and over to where the NRA may actually end up going completely bankrupt over this. And if things keep going the way they will, the NRA will go bankrupt. Now, the money solvency that the NRA problem didn't have before all these higher ups started treating it like their fun to throw their personal parties, the NRA might actually have survived this, but it's looking like the NRA is not going to survive.
So what happens if the NRA goes belly up?
We'd like a lot of people would like to say that the Concealed Carry Association of America or Gun Owners of America, there are several other Second Amendment advocacy groups that actually I personally think they're a lot better than the NRA.
Oh yeah.
Because historically the NRA has had a bad habit of settling and coming to compromises that are compromises that are detrimental to the Second Amendment. Now this is just a pull out of my behind example, but say California, they will want they're going to want a 10-round magazine maximum for any weapon, period. Well, the NRA, for the most part, the standard capacity magazine for an AR-15 is 30 rounds. That's just the typical what you get. Well, what'll happen is California will sit there and say, well, we want it to be 5 rounds. Well, the NRA will step in and say, well, how about we come to a compromise and say 10 rounds? So California says, okay, 10 rounds. Now, that's still a shot to, that is still technically a shot to the Second Amendment, but the NRA will sit there and say, well, look how hard we fought to do this for you. Give us money. And where other Second Amendment advocacy groups will not compromise on that, they will say the standard is 30, deal. The industry standard for it is 30 magazines, deal with it. And California will sit there and play, they won't compromise as much. So there are better advocacy groups out of there. Now the problem is, will these other advocacy groups gain as much power as the NRA? Who's to say? Who's to say? We can't really say that one way or another. A lot of us would like other groups, that are more unwavering, less compromising, to gain the power that the NRA would leave behind. A lot of us would like to think that, but unfortunately, considering a lot of these smaller groups, with the NRA, when the NRA goes away, the big name is NRA. So if the NRA itself goes away, a lot of people may not pay any attention to these other groups anymore. So it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, so I have nothing but contempt for the NRA because they're the first people to sit there and fucking try to compromise with the gun grabbers and say just like, okay, we'll only take away half of our guns instead of all of them. But the fact of the matter is they're still like they're the big name when it comes to this kind of stuff, and there's really nobody else who has the amount of like power connections and most importantly money that they have.
Right.
So, I mean, really, nothing will really happen if the NRA leaves other than people are going to have to go somewhere else to find advocates for gun carriers?
Yes. Yes, but the problem is it's a matter of will one of these other groups, Gun Owners of America or Concealed Carry Association of America, will any of these other groups be able to pick up the slack? That we don't know.
Okay, that's fair. Well, that kind of sucks, but it's fair.
It does, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, the big unfortunate is yeah. The Firearms Act of 1986. That is actually now I'm just giving an example. That is the set of laws that allows. Now it does allow fully automatic weapons to be owned by certain people. That was actually but the thing is that actually also the National Firearms Act, it also put a lot of broad restrictions on firearms. Yeah. That was endorsed by the NRA when it was up for debate.
Yep.
And then signed into law under Reagan. So whenever somebody actually likes to sit and argue NRA is a Republican organization, no, they're not.
Yeah, the NRA used to be start off as a hunting club, and then if I remember correctly, when they first became a political organization, they endorsed a lot of gun control.
Well, they were a hunting club. That's sort of true, sort of not true. It can be argued that the NRA was actually founded to be able to arm freed slaves, but they weren't necessarily an organization as they exist now. There had been over the years, there had been several mergers, acquisitions, almost like any other corporation, and they may have the group that had been in existence to arm blacks. The NRA may have acquired them, so I'd have to look into the history of that.
Where's Peter with that FBI open up when we need it?
Yeah, who's getting arrested?
Trucker.
Oh, you guys can hear that?
That's it's Cuban. Shit, they're coming for you. I knew it. ICE, man. They're going after actual Americans now.
I know. I'm going to have to, hide in my closet or in the pantry or something like Julio and Gonzalez.
Except most of those.
Cuban, I have a closet you can hide in.
You do?
Except most of those are fire trucks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, just go ahead. Just hide out in the closet. Just hide out in this closet here.
Unfortunately, most of those sirens belong to fire trucks.
Yeah. I can mute them.
Pay no mind to the chains and tarp and the rag that smells like chloroform in there. Just don't worry about that.
Oh.
Drive the opinionated one in.
I could have died. Do I put that one straight on my face?
Let me know if that rag smells like chloroform.
Let me just sniff it. I'll do the sniff test.
Oh yeah. We need to do the sniff test on it.
Scotty's wanting in.
Yeah, Scotty
Okay.
wants in.
So when it boils down to it, the Second Amendment, the advocacy groups that exist now, the ones that exist now, they might be able to pick up the slack. Yeah, they might be able to pick up the slack. Who knows? My only question is, if the NRA goes out of business, who gets the museum?
I don't know.
Good question. Let me know if you figure that one out.
Hey,
I'd like to
Chadwick.
take a shot at that museum. They got some good stuff in there.
And Inkton pricked yo. So
Hello,
I pulled
peoples.
something else up on my screen that I thought was interesting, where it says Canada is going to get rid of cigarettes by 2035. That's right. Canada is going to stop selling cigarettes by 2035, and this is
That's a bold strategy.
Yeah, so it says, towards a smoke-free Canada. If you or someone you love smokes cigarettes, this may sound familiar. You worry about the effects, the smell, why worry about that, and the impact on the people that you love. So basically, but for a change like this to happen, we need governments and consumers to be a part of it. So there's a big push for governments to control cigarettes, which I think, as if the government would ever get on board with this, because like the tax money they get from that, gold mine.
Watch
They're
it
going-
being matter. Watch it end up being a matter of semantics. God.
They're going to ban cigarettes, and then immediately all the government's going to go bankrupt because they have no money.
Yeah, once again,
No, you guys will come down to
once again,
America. You guys will come down to America and appreciate some cigarettes from us.
buy your cigarettes from America. Yeah,
That's
no.
not what's actually going to happen. You know what's going to happen is all the Native American contraband is just going to become even more popular.
Yeah, no.
Ooh, you know what? That may give them more money too if they started doing tobacco fields, if the weather, permits those there.
Well, they do. The reserves make contraband cigarettes, and only natives
Yeah.
are allowed to have them. If somebody else buys them off the reserve, you'll get arrested for that.
Can you smoke them on the reserve? Like if someone gave them to you?
Yeah, if you're a native.
Oh, just if you're a native, that's it.
Yeah, if you're not a native, they're contraband. If you are a native, you're free.
That's messed up.
You can get like 300 cigarettes for $15 from the reserve, but they're
Ooh,
contraband.
doctor.
Listen, there's just so many things around this world going on that going smoke-free by what, 2030? Is that the
2035.
2035?
16 years.
So that's
What happened? It'll just go underground like drugs.
Yeah.
No, it's
Listen,
we have more
people.
important pressing issues here, okay? Other than letting people have a fucking cigarette if they're stressed out.
People are still going to kill themselves slowly.
Yeah, if they try to ban cigarettes, it'll end up just like how in the U.S. the war on drugs is going, or when prohibition.
Yeah, it's done.
It's going to be exactly like that.
The
It's
war on
just-
drugs is done.
It's going to be exactly the same fucking thing because this prohibition shit doesn't fucking
Nope.
work.
It
All
doesn't work.
it does is just creates a fucking black market for it. And also once again and fuck off with your nanny state. It's not the fucking government's responsibility to protect me from myself. If I want to fucking chain smoke Marlboro Reds like John
Thank
Wayne and
you.
a tax on it, it's nobody's fucking business except my own.
And these recent rages from smoking at 18 to smoking to 21 now in all these states, that kind of pisses me off.
Because raising the drinking age worked out definitely well. I definitely wasn't getting fucking hammer-faced on Four Locos at 17.
All right.
That totally works.
And
It works every time.
that would have been the vintage Four Loco with gasoline in it.
Oh yeah, the one that everyone has the horror stories about.
Yeah, well, I thought everybody would be interested in that little tidbit of news from Canada because it just was
All right,
so freaking interesting.
All right, so jerks are over. Blind girl. What's the rest of that story? Is the tax against pre-made cigarettes? Is it against tobacco? What is it against?
I'm not sure.
Or the banning?
I think it might just be. I think it might be on tobacco itself because I have not seen loose tobacco sold in Canada in a long time.
So would it also? So if it's on tobacco in general, would it also be on like dip or chew or snuff?
I'm not sure. I've never had to buy it, so I don't actually know anything on it. I know that the natives are allowed to get away with it being tax free because they're natives. As for the tax,
reason I'm asking,
I'm not sure if it's on pre-made cigarettes or tobacco itself. I'm assuming it's tobacco itself because otherwise Canadians would have switched to rolling their own. Because it's up to $16 a pack now. They raised it some more.
God damn.
but how many people how many Canadians realize that you can just roll your own or stuff your own?
If you're an avid smoker, you would have realized that. Come on now.
Yeah, you would have done, surely.
Yeah.
Don't be so
If
sure.
if it was a commonly available thing, you would have done, surely.
Don't be so sure about that.
Oh yeah, I've seen people who genuinely had no idea that you could buy bags of tobacco and rolling papers to roll your own smokes. I know several people who had no idea that was even a possibility. Let alone
maybe it's just more common here. I don't know.
Last week,
I will look it up.
last week,
It's probably more common over here than it is in America or Canada, but I would have thought you'd at least still have it.
We do have it, but a lot of people don't know about. What were you saying, Trucker?
Okay,
when I
so the
went
tax
home,
rates are
I bought enough tobacco.
18.4 cents per cigarette, but it's 18.4 cents per gram or part gram of loose leaf tobacco product, other than cigarettes. And cigars are 56.6% tax. So yeah, they are taxing tobacco, not pre-made tobacco.
So that's going to include. I don't know how much like chewing tobacco is a big thing over there. I don't know if chewing tobacco is a big thing.
It's not a big thing up here.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Trucker. You were saying something.
Yeah, it's a tax. Did Trucker get kicked?
No, he's still here.
Okay. Yeah, it's a tax on tobacco straight up. So rolling my own would not save me any money whatsoever.
God damn.
I haven't had a cigarette in a couple of days, and I just bought a pack, by the way. And then before that, I hadn't had one in a week, so I'm kind of sad that I'm smoking right now.
I can't stand this fucking sin tax shit. It goes back to, it's like whether it be like tobacco or alcohol or anything else that's like we in the States we call it a sin tax. It's like it's not once again, and it's not the fucking responsibility of the state to be nannying people. It's up to the individual. If I want to fucking smoke, if I want to fucking drink, it's nobody's goddamn business except my own. So the government can stay the fuck right on out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes first.
I agree.
Taxation is stuff.
Oh, we're not getting no. We did this yesterday. We're not getting into this today, guys.
Just teasing.
No. We argued this yesterday. We are not going there today. Hi, Big Dro. We're not going there today.
Oh.
Still fast though.
Scotty, we're not going there today. Because we spent an hour on this yesterday. This isn't.
Hey guys,
this is going to be
guys.
Every single stream.
Guys, we're still 4-1. We still win. But anyway, we're just not going to argue. Actually, physically,
we're not going to argue on it right now.
The problem is technically it's Blind Girl's show, so she gets majority vote.
No, that's not how it works.
We're not going to argue
She can
on
kick
why
your ass.
we're not arguing about tax being theft either. That is also not going to be a thing.
Yeah. But anyway, continuing on it. Yeah, it's the syntax shit is fucking bullshit.
It is.
But fuck off with your nanny state.
I mean, they are overpricing. They are overtaxing everything anyways because of the carbon tax. They found a way to tax literally everything. In Canada, there used to be no tax on produce, and no tax on food that wasn't processed. Now there is because carbon tax, which is why you buy apples at like $2 a kilogram.
Gotta love that
Wow. So
carbon tax that
Whoa.
they just sprung out on you because you guys make so much pollution around here. I mean, geez.
Whoa,
Yeah, it's
trucker!
pretty bad.
Last week, trucker bought enough tobacco and tubes to make like 2 cartons worth of cigarettes for $13. God damn!
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know,
It's fucking hot.
I
Nice.
wish. Trucker, if you could just, try to sneak that up here to me without it getting caught through customs, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, can you send some to me as well?
Yeah, send that. Send that shit to me as well. I'll fucking start smoking again.
I mean, technically, if I really want to, I could cross the line and go on a reserve and get some cheap smokes, but I don't want to. I just.
I mean, technically, if I really wanted to, I could walk for 10 minutes over to the gas station and buy some smokes. But
For the
I
haze.
I could go to the reserve and get some contraband cigarettes if I wanted to, but that would subject myself to the reserve. No, thank you.
You can just walk in and give them money and leave again, can you?
I could if I really wanted to subject myself to the fucking reserve. No,
Bob?
it's
Okay.
that bad.
Is it bad?
It's bad. I
Like
have been
crime rate is bad?
No, I've been classed as a race trader, so it's politics
Oh,
bad.
you traitor.
Yeah. I have been denounced by most of the elders of the native community.
Like, I thought it was just the case of just walking in, getting your smokes, and then leaving again, but no.
No, because you got to show your status, which I could with my Métis card, but no, thank you. And then I'm not even Métis. I'm Mohawk, but I can only prove Métis because politics.
blind girl, goes in to buy smokes. But I need to see your stats. Oh, you're a race trader. Okay, yeah, you're not allowed here. We don't serve your kind.
Well, you see, there's a rule.
They have a picture there with race trader down at the bottom.
They got like a blacklist board behind every counter.
It's like just your picture, blind girl, and it's like, do not sell to this woman.
Yeah, it's like, do not sell to them.
I broke the rule, and the rule of natives is you do not challenge an elder. You do not question the elder. You do not argue with the elders. Something I am incapable of not doing.
Yeah,
there was this elder, and she was a medicine elder, so she was for natural medicines. And so she was talking about self-healing and herb healing, and she was talking to a group of diabetics. It was a diabetic group, and she was saying, we don't need doctors. We only need to self-heal. And I'm like, whoa. Your kind leads to diabetics not taking their insulin and dying. Your kind leads to the death of diabetics. And you're telling all the diabetics here not to trust their doctors and to self-heal? What the fuck is wrong with you? And, that they didn't take that very well.
I can imagine.
On a national average, in this one reservation, I was Wind River in Wyoming. I was doing some research on. The national obesity rate for the U.S. is 33%. In their particular reserve, it's 70%.
Most natives are prone to diabetes because they're fat.
Yes. Well, it doesn't help either that it's the government food that they're eating, and that is all processed, and they put the cheapest shit in there. They did it to us in the military. It's basically these people get these trucks come in with food, government food. That's what you get. Most of them, there's like a 70% unemployment rate. These guys live off the checks that they get monthly from the government, giving it to them, so Alberta can dump their oily waste on their land. So,
yeah, it's not. I mean, natives, unfortunately, their genes dictate that diabetes is rampant.
Okay.
So even if you're not fat, you're really likely. It's a high statistic in the native population for diabetes, weak teeth enamel, and anemia.
Oh, interesting.
And
I too am at high risk because of my genetics. for diabetes. Everyone on both sides basically have diabetes, so I'm screwed.
Yeah, and
So
I
you're all
mean,
three.
the anemia is actually because natives used to eat a lot of, well, they still do. They eat a lot of red meat. That's their diet. Especially up in Canada, they would follow the herds and they would forage red meat and ground veggies.
But
And
thought
when
red
they
meat was full of iron, so why does that like?
Wait for it. Problem. When the Europeans came over, they brought their flour, their sugar, their bread, and the native community said, yes, we're going to eat this. And the problem is that the European diet and the native diet do not mix. And so you have generations upon generations of high amounts of red meat. And then you had colonization, which meant we were now mixing food, essentially. And so it led to high rates of anemia and high rates of diabetes because the body is just not used to consuming those things. Now that it's here, I mean, genetically we haven't been predisposed to it enough to get used to it, and the reason is because the natives will fight back and say don't eat the 5 whites. And so we haven't really embraced a new diet to evolve to be able to handle it yet. So a lot of people have problems with anemia. They have problems with weak tooth enamel because of the citrus that came over. And they have problems with type 2 diabetes because of just the shift in diet. Now, what I find freaking hilarious is you want to know a native food that the natives claim is theirs? Cultural?
Sure.
Bannock.
The fuck is that?
Scotty should know. Bannock. What does that sound like to you? It's Bannock. It's a Scottish word. Bannock. It's fucking Scottish.
Bannock.
Yes.
Is that better?
The natives claim this is a food of their culture. It's fucking from Scotland.
Wow.
Don't encourage him, blind girl. It sounds enough like Gazi Kodzo as it is.
This is the one instance where natives say something is theirs when they've actually stolen it from the Scots.
Well, for once, Scotland actually did create something that other people are using.
Bannock.
Whoa!
It's
First
Scottish.
time for everything. Someone.
And did you use your TV today? Did you use your telephone today? Did you use the road today at all?
Actually,
Not
Scotty,
Scottish.
the telephone with telephone wires was Scottish, but
Alexander.
cell phones are satellite links. So you guys are responsible maybe for landlines, but for cell phones, you have no claim.
And I don't have a landline because I'm not 60. So suck it.
Alexander T. Bell.
Did you use a
Corporation.
Did you use a
Started
tarmac
the
road
first
today?
phone here.
Did I use a what?
A tarmac road today.
Alexander Graham Bell.
Graham Bell.
Yes, he was
Skills, did you use a tarmac road at any point today?
Scottish-born, but on Canadian soil discovered use of telephones. So it's up for wide debate on Canada versus Scotland. Now, I'm not going to get into that debate today because we did that yesterday. However, I will say Bannock is fucking Scottish, and the natives say it's their cultural bread. So whenever the natives would serve Bannock, I would just start pretending to play bagpipes, and so, yeah, the elders don't like me.
Kind of like Kim Jong-il invented the hamburger, to the
and golf.
And golf.
They didn't invent golf, actually. We invented golf.
No, they put it in the history books in their country that he did, though. So that is what these
Cryptic, I
people
agree.
believe.
Scotland is not a country, it's AIDS.
No.
Yeah.
I love the Scotland.
Yeah, but I love talking shit about Scotland in order to piss off Scotty.
Yeah, agreed.
Because once again, yeah, Scotty, you sound like the Black Israelites.
So, there has been numerous takes today about the Antifa
It's pretty
thing.
vax me out. That's all I'm saying.
And I have a bunch of interesting takes on the Antifa thing, and we're not going to go into an insane debate about it until we're done covering the Antifa thing.
Yes.
Agreed?
So agreed. I will mute myself and I will listen. You can say good girl. It's okay.
So, Antifa once again stood up and made their claim that they are not a domestic terrorist organization. Now, there's a lot of people that are going at Trump and saying, dude, label them a domestic terrorist group. There's a problem with that, and that there is no thing that can just say, you know, you're a domestic terrorist group. That's not a thing. Foreign terrorist groups, yes, but domestic terrorism, you can call them that, but there is no organization that has a list of domestic terrorist groups that automatically just defaults them to that.
Well, there is an organization that has a list of domestic terrorist groups. Unfortunately, they are extremely left wing, and they are the SPLC.
Yeah.
Which is why the Proud Boys were labeled a domestic terrorist organization.
Yes, but Trump doesn't have
as soon
the
as
power.
they were started. But
Trump doesn't have the power to just say you're a domestic terrorist group now.
Yeah. Hold on. I thought there was some like kind of action that could be taken in the Department of Justice where it would consider that.
No, actually, they're trying to change legislation so that there is something called domestic terrorism. There was a debate back with AOC about that because they have foreign terrorism protocols. They don't actually have one for domestic terrorism yet. There was a debate with AOC about it, saying that we don't actually have domestic terrorism as a thing. We just have terrorism. And usually
that's a KKK.
I don't know. All I know is that apparently in the rule of law, there is no subset for domestic terrorism. It's just terrorism. And usually it's pertaining to foreign.
Yeah, foreign and domestic are kind of intertwined, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes.
Hey, Crappy Slayer. What's up? So yeah, that's kind of what happened. And so Antifa's coming out and saying, well, you know what? You cannot call us an organization anyways because we're not organized enough. We don't have a leader. We don't have any direction. We don't have a roster of where to be. Mind you, there have been reports that they use encrypted messaging so that they can go, signal, go there. But Antifa is claiming that because they're not organized enough with a direction and a leader and, you know, a pyramid of people and peons, that they technically are not a group that can be classed as domestic terrorist group.
I feel like that's kind of a crock of shit.
It is.
They are not centrally organized like your typical group.
And they are not protesting peacefully at all.
But that's how they get away with it, is they're not centrally organized and they technically don't have a leader.
Okay, but they still need to get those boys that were throwing the hammers, that were spray painting other people.
I agree, but
behind their masks, they have to do something.
I absolutely agree, but legally it's kind of there's really nothing that can be done because they're not centrally organized and they don't have like an official leader, which I agree. Antifa, they by definition they should be considered a domestic terrorist organization, but the thing is, under the law, they're not considered an organization.
Yes.
Which is the
That's
issue.
Interesting, blind girl. Thank you. I did not know that.
Also, people will call it and say, well, Antifa hasn't really done a whole lot of damage, and I've decided it's
yes,
because
they have.
I've decided it's because they fucking suck at it. So one of the videos is of them holding a hammer at a bus the Proud Boys are using to leave, and he literally takes a hammer, he hits the back window, and instead of breaking the window, it bounces back and hits him in the head.
Yes, but you know what they did? They also managed to break the window and start putting taser spray inside the bus. And then when they got the door open to come out and fight him, one of the dudes threw the hammer at the dude's head, in one of the Proud Boys, and it landed on his back, that very same hammer. I saw that clip. They were throwing bricks that they came in like little cases. They brought cases of bricks.
Oh, yeah.
So I've also decided from listening to all of these groups today that the media say that white supremacist groups are around, like Proud Boys and such. Antifa will then sit there and say, well, if you voted Trump, you're a racist and a white supremacist Nazi. So really that means the media is going along with the idea that everyone is a white supremacist and therefore justifying them to very terribly try and go and cause damage. I think the reason why they haven't caused more damage is just because they suck at it.
Yeah.
But the shift of white supremacy is shifting. Fascism, generally speaking, if you're a fascist, you're going around in a hood and some kind of, foreseeable uniform, whether it be totally black or totally white, and you're usually beating the shit out of people that you disagree with. Antifa hating cops, Antifa hating pretty much everybody because everybody is a white supremacist because whatever. And what's interesting about it is after the Proud Boys were long gone, they just fucking long gone, Antifa then began beating up everybody they thought might be a Proud Boy.
There was a news story about a year ago where Antifa beat the shit out of a dude who was just there watching a Proud Boy rally and walked over to where they were because that's where the bathroom was, just so he could take a piss. And then when he came back out from taking a piss, as the Proud Boy said, the Proud Boys was like, "Fucking get that dude! He's a Proud Boy. He's a Nazi." And they fucking beat the shit out of a dude who was just there.
It happened last week. Somebody was wearing a duct tape vest that said redneck on the back as a joke, and they were in Portland. They live in Portland. Him and his wife are just walking down the street, and here comes Antifa right behind him with like whatever they have, their hammers, whatever, beating the shit out of this poor dude that had absolutely no clue what the fuck was going on. He just thought he was being edgy.
Trucker, you know what? It's comically hilarious that they weren't strong enough to break a window with a hammer. Don't tell me that the back doors are usually plastic. That doesn't make it funny anymore.
Well, I mean,
Still kind of funny though.
I just want to say for the record, I'm pretty sure I could break plastic with a hammer.
Hello, Elwin. So yeah, I thought, well, everybody keeps saying Trump, just make them a domestic terrorist group. He can't yet. There's nothing there that makes it so he can. Even though they fit all of the subsets of what a domestic terror group is, which they don't even have to inflict any damage. They're already creating terror regardless if they hurt anybody. They're just adding on to the terror at that point. They're terrorizing people and then they commit violence. So it's like they're going further than what a terror group has to be in order to be labeled one, but there is no specific law or subset where you can say domestic terrorism group, we're going to put them right on that list with Hezbollah. They can't do that.
Hezbollah is not a domestic terrorist group. They're just
I was using so Hezbollah is a foreign terror group.
Yeah.
They don't have a domestic terror group that would be in line with, all right, you are just like Hezbollah, except that you are domestic. There is no subset. That was the comparison. I know that Hezbollah is not domestic.
What is Hezbollah?
Hezbollah is an Islamic terrorist group from the Middle East.
Yeah.
Hey, what are your guys' feelings on the Washington Examiner, real quick, as far as a source?
I'm not familiar enough with them to have an opinion.
Okay, they just put out an article that said, "Sorry, media, too bad. There is no white supremacist violence epidemic, according to FBI file. FBI data: white on white murder, 80%. White on black murder, 8%. Right? Black on white murder, 16%. Black on black murder, 88%. The conclusions, if I scroll down, black on white murder is 2 times the rate of white on black murder.
Yeah.
But black on black murder is exactly 10 times white on black murder. White on white murder is almost 10 times white on black murder. There is no epidemic of white supremacist violence in America. In fact, blacks and whites murder each other non-racially. But if you're going to say anything, it's the blacks that kill more whites than any other way around, and blacks still kill more people than any other race, including their own."
Oh yeah. Black on
like the FBI stats, if you want to trust the FBI.
And the thing is that those statistics have been consistent for decades now. It's that black on black violence is the highest, which, once again, is something that we're not allowed to talk about.
Well,
because it's racist. It's racist to talk about that instead of helping these people and finding a solution, and calling it out for what it is and handing the microphone over to these community leaders to fuck their own. Not fuck their own community, but help their own community.
And you see, and the thing is it's like the reason why that number is so high is because most of it is gang related in inner cities.
Oh, you mean like most of our mass shootings? That they don't take account for, that is in the statistic that nobody talks about? Those mass shootings?
Yes. Most of yes, the reason why is because it's heavily gang related. That's why, which is once again, and people are looking at the absolute fucking wrong source of problems.
And when you do that, you ignore the real one. You can't You can't slide shit under the rug for a very long time, y'all. Can't.
And also, Crappy Slayer. What did I say?
I
carry on.
think that was Trucker that was referring to you, not Crappy.
No, that was Crappy. I have an eye on the chat.
Oh, okay. So, on a lighter note, NASA confirms mission to discover if Jupiter, Moon, Europa can support life. Yay!
Ooh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Europa is amazing.
Also,
I heard they found an underground ocean.
Yeah, I didn't know
basically,
that this had gone. I didn't know
One
that
at a
they had
time.
gone through with this.
One at a time, ladies and gentlemen.
Europa is amazing because technically it should be frozen all the way through, but because of like the way it's pulled and pushed by Jupiter, it's heated up in the middle, so there's a lake underneath the ice.
Really? That's fucking awesome. Goddamn space is so fucking cool.
I know, and the way shit is going around here, we better get to another planet before aliens come. Why do you think we're buying Greenland? We need a new space force.
Yes, use Greenland as the base for the space force.
Yeah, they're coming.
Hey,
We
Crappy.
need the lasers.
Hey.
We've switched trucks. We had Pumpkin Trucker, and now we've got Crappy Trucker. So we swapped trucks, I guess. I'm okay with this.
Do you realize what you said, M&M?
I say a lot of things, so it honestly could have been anything.
You said over 60 on a landline.
Oh! All right. I got it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right,
I realize
Sockbat.
now.
Where we find water, we do find life, usually.
We have found some weird ass life. There's life. There's life that lives in just.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So Sockbat says it's been liquid for, I believe, something like millions of years too. So that makes it a good prospect.
Ooh, what is it on Jupiter's moon? So there's actually liquid water there.
Apparently.
There's a whole ocean that's frozen.
Oh shit!
Like ours.
God, this is so fucking cool. I fucking love space shit.
Me too.
Which is why I was immediately all on board for having. I was immediately all on board for the fucking Space Force.
If I would have known the Space Force were coming out, I probably would have joined that before the Navy.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't have joined the Army at 17. I would have just waited like another 6 years to join the Space Force.
Didn't Pence say something about it today, that they're launching it next week or something?
Something like that. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh my god.
I seen something on that.
Yeah, NASA
Okay, I'm
is
go-
heading to Europa, Jupiter's icy and potentially life-supporting moon in the next decade. The mission could be ready for launch as soon as 2023. The agency said in a statement on Tuesday, although it is currently committed to being launch-ready by 2025. Europa is a compelling destination. It's the sixth largest moon in the solar system and has a crust primarily comprised of water ice. Astrophysicists have long speculated that there is liquid water below and potentially alien life. The Europa Clipper mission will send a spacecraft to orbit Jupiter and perform at least 45 close flybys of the moon, which will enable more detailed imagery than ever before. We are all excited about the decision that moves the Europa Clipper mission one key step closer to unlocking the mysteries of this ocean world. Thomas Zurbuchen, NASA's Science Mission Directorate Associate Administrator, said in a statement. Among the instrument payload currently expected are high-definition cameras and an ice-penetrating radar, the latter of which would look for the subsurface lakes scientists think are there. A magnetometer would measure the salinity and depth of these oceans based on measurements of the magnetic field, while other equipment would look for evidence of an atmosphere and recent water eruptions on Europa's surface. That is really cool. Well,
Elon Musk, you need to get on this like right now. And I'm at like 50% erect for science right now.
Elon Musk actually thought it was a good plan to donate $2 billion to the first company who can land on a moon and provide build facilities for us to go up there.
Oh yeah, Elon Musk, he has fuck you money. He can which is why he has his own space program, and he doesn't seem. And I've seen the videos. He doesn't bat an eye when like a $30 million rocket crashes.
Well, I think the better end of this is more productively if they did asteroid mining would actually benefit people greater than other projects. I think. Asteroid
mining, that would be a major bit. If we could figure out like the logistics of being able to transport what we can get from the asteroids and stuff like to and from Earth for not like obscenely high costs, if we could figure out something to mitigate that, that would be a fucking economic gold mine.
Yeah, my brother thinks he would actually create the first trillionaires.
Yeah. Yep. And according to Sockbat in the chat, the ice is also thick enough to block Jupiter's radiation. So that's fucking cool.
That's amazing.
So there actually is possibility for life on this moon, which that's so fucking cool.
Get the shuttle back up, blast big pieces of the rock off, and bring it back to a meeting point, and then have the shuttle bring it back.
Yeah.
That way it wouldn't burn up in the atmosphere.
That's good. Yeah, that would be cool. So if we can find a way to do that, then yeah, we'll be. That if the U.S. is the first one to be able to start doing asteroid mining, immediately just the undisputed powerhouse of the globe.
Yeah, but we got to worry about India and China and all them beating us to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space Race 2 Electric Boogaloo.
And my brother says I was quoting Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm like, of course you were.
May I ask? So we go to the moon, right? But then we have other agencies from other governments and worlds. Is this kind of like a, when we were practicing our manifest destiny and people ran to the west and they were just claiming land by putting little flags and stuff like, this is my land, this is my land. Is that how it's going to go on the moon?
Yes,
Yeah.
I truly hope so. Remember, there are two types of countries: those that have the metric system and those that have been to the moon.
Burma as well. They have the magic. They don't magic either.
Really, Burma. That's weird. You don't really think about Burma as having their shit together.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Alrighty, I have more things. I do have more things. I have a collection of things.
She has many things.
I do.
Lots of things. Nobody has better things than Blind Girl. I know everybody knows that she has billions and billions and billions of things.
I do. I have billions and billions of things. Just saying, Mr. Trump. So gunman holds bus passengers hostage in Rio because that's fun. Yeah, that's right. An armed man hijacked a bus in the Brazilian city of Rio de Janeiro on Tuesday, taking 37 commuters hostage before freeing 6 of them. Unconfirmed reports suggest that shots were fired and that the hostage taker had apparently been killed. However, there is no official confirmation of this.
NBC reported that he was killed.
Yeah, I think CBS is also reporting that as well. Police kill man who held bus passengers hostage in Brazil. So yeah, I guess this is an update from the previous paragraph, but the armed man on Tuesday took dozens of hostages on a bus in Brazil and threatened to set the vehicle on fire with gasoline before police shot him dead in a 4-hour standoff broadcast live on television. All of the hostages were freed unharmed in the confrontation, which unfolded on an 8-mile-long bridge linking Rio de Janeiro to the Niterói municipality across Guanabara Bay. All right, cool. Get better names, people. The seized bus was coming from Sao Gonçalo, whatever foreign name, a community struggling with poverty and violence. Many people use the bridge to travel to and from work in Rio. The hundreds of vehicles were backed up as police closed lanes and tried to get control of the dangerous situation. The man holding a gun and a knife took 37 people hostage on the bus at around 5:30 a.m. as commuter traffic was increasing. He released 2 hostages, then another 2, and then 2 more separately. Later, he stepped out of the bus, threw an object resembling a bag, and was shot by a sniper. Well, that guy was real smart, wasn't he? I mean, that's good that he was dumb, but, you know.
An object resembling a bag. What does that mean?
A bag-like object.
Also, see you, Red Feather.
Oh, peace, Red Feather. The gunman's intentions were unclear, and he did not make any particular demands, according to police. The standoff was broadcast live on Brazil's TV Globo, riveting Brazilians in a nation accustomed to high levels of crime. So yeah, that was a thing. It happened. It was totally a thing.
There's always things that happen.
Their version of Philadelphia.
Huh.
Yep.
There's also a lot of gay people in Rio, isn't there?
And then, of course, we have the great Ilhan Omar saying the U.S. should reconsider aid to Israel because, you know, if you insult us and make us feel bad, America, you should cut off funding to Israel just because my feelings.
Foreign aid is bullshit anyway.
They had every opportunity to go recently. They had a whole group going. It was Republicans and Democrats. They could have gone with them and actually spoken about what they wanted to say. Yet they wanted to play fuck games and go by themselves so they can meet with their own people who are tied to, you know, other terrorist, you know, organizations. And then they were pleading, "You won't even let me see my mother? You won't even let me see my grandmother?"
Yeah, and like, by the way, Scotty, not all forms of foreign aid is bullshit.
Beg to differ.
Not what?
Not all forms of foreign aid is bullshit.
Beg to differ.
And so does it not just it creates independence? It doesn't help anybody.
Well, no. First of all, we got to. If we're going to debate this, I want to be clear on a couple of things. Are you talking about foreign aid as a fucking whole, or foreign aid as give it to these countries because they're poor? Because certain forms of foreign aid can be disaster control. So somebody has a huge ass earthquake, and we send foreign aid to help them. Is that also bullshit?
I'm an isolationist, so
Depends on what it goes on for, because that can still create dependence.
I'm an isolationist, so I think that my personal opinion is we should not be doing foreign aid to any country until we have America completely all fucking 100%.
We need to eliminate the homeless in this country.
Until the time that happens where we have America completely 100% taken care of, cut foreign aid.
Yeah, I agree with you, M&M.
I can't agree with that because that is just fucking terrible.
That is terrible.
How so?
Because while I find that foreign aid to places like, here, we're going to fund your abortions, or hey, we're going to fund LGBTQ tolerance, that kind of foreign aid is bullshit. When you give a bunch of money to countries like Palestine, for example, where they're going to, instead of helping their people, buy weapons, that is also bullshit. But let's say Mexico tomorrow had a huge earthquake and a bunch of people needed help. I agree with that kind of foreign aid.
Well, it's nobody else's business but Mexico's, though, isn't it?
Yes,
But
I can agree with that.
Trucker points out that foreign aid and disaster relief are separate things. Disaster relief maybe, but we should not be handing shit out to other countries.
That's what I'm talking about. Disaster relief, I agree with. Foreign aid, not so much.
My thing is, when Hurricane Katrina came, my boat actually docked, like, right beyond there. We took a ship and we did a lot of humanitarian things. And, you know, I don't care what the American government tried to persuade it to be. Everybody was saying, oh, it was just America. Where are all the other countries? There were other countries there. The Mexican
actually
Army
got there first.
Yeah, the Mexican Army were there, like, busting their ass. I remember we got stuck in front of a road with a huge tree in the middle, so we got out and started looking at it. And the Mexican Army rose up behind us. They all look at us, get out, move the tree out of the road, and keep going. And we're left sitting there like idiots. Like, oh, I guess we could have done that.
British Columbia military got down to Katrina before a lot of American military could get there.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Until we can take care of our own, we do not need to. We do not.
Wait. Do not say whoa. When you say that's what we're talking about, I just said Canada helped your ass, and you say that's what I'm talking. Wait a minute.
No, because
so what you're saying is wait, let me fucking finish. So what you just said was Canada shouldn't have been there.
No, because Canada should take care of itself.
No.
So should
Canada should have been there helping us out, because that's what we do. If something happened like that to Canada,
that's what we have hundreds of programs and billions upon billions of dollars being poured into. And when we when we are completely fucking, it's like using Katrina as an example. when we are completely fucking incapable of even helping ourselves when this kind of shit
But
happens.
that wasn't from finances.
What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing helping other people?
That was not because of finances. That was because of proximity. We were closer. Had nothing to do with money. Had everything to do with proximity. We could get there faster than the American military because the BC border was near Katrina. It had nothing to do with money.
How the fuck was the BC border near Katrina?
Because the bottom of BC, the military there could get to the victims near the top faster than the American military could penetrate, get through there, and get to all the people on the other side of Orleans. Katrina is Orleans, right?
We had to use our New Orleans. We had to use
which makes no sense because BC is the complete fucking opposite side of the country. Which, once again, that shows that there is a massive fucking problem.
Well, when you have Orleans basically going underwater, you have Americans on one side, and you had Canadians and Mexicans on the other side. When you can't get through there and penetrate it fast enough, it's great to have somebody taking control of the problem on the right side of it, and somebody on the left side, and someone on the north and south.
And thank you.
How did Canada get there before America did? That doesn't make sense.
Because America was dealing on one side of the disaster, and Canada went to the other side to help the people that Americans couldn't get to right away. Because that takes time.
And that, yeah. Oh, trust me, I've done plenty of disaster relief where it's like where us in South Carolina where we were doing stuff like down in the southern side of the states. On the southern side of the state, North Carolina was helping out in the northern side. Georgia was helping out along the border and stuff. That's one thing. But when you have, it's like bringing in other countries.
Bringing in other countries when it saves somebody's life is a good thing.
Why was the military not allowed in Louisiana?
We couldn't get in. We had to dock way off, and take our LCACs, send the Marines in, take our LCACs, and send our asses in, which are these little ships that come out of the backs of other ships. Go in, they board us. We could not physically get in because it was that, covered in water because the dam broke. I mean, it was water to your neck in some places.
Is your position, seriously, that America should be so proud as to not accept help from other countries?
No, hell no.
Not you, I'm talking to M&M. Is your stance literally that America should be so proud that instead of accepting more help to save more people quicker, you should just stand on your own 2 feet at the expense of somebody else?
That's not at all what I was saying.
Well, then why would you say America should be able to stand on its own? Isn't it a good thing that there was foreign domestic relief, that there was for a disaster, that there's foreign relief? Isn't that a good thing?
No, the reason why Katrina was such a fucking shit show. The Louisiana governor refused to allow military help. FEMA was being run by someone who was completely unqualified. What I've been saying this whole time is which this is the point of my entire argument about when it comes to foreign aid and shit is until we are able to fully take care of ourselves, we have no business trying to get involved in other nations when we cannot even help ourselves.
Yeah, but I'm talking disaster relief. I'm talking just disaster relief, not foreign aid to random crap. I'm talking specifically disaster relief.
We are splitting those two up. So foreign aid is not like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about specifically disaster relief, tsunamis, shit.
Foreign aid technically has a subsection for disaster relief, okay?
Yes.
That is what I am agreeing with. I'm agreeing that, you know what, when there's a disaster, yeah, we should fucking help them if we can.
Although there is a problem with some countries that we give like vehicles to help in their disaster, they just sit there in a parking lot covered in red tape.
Yeah, another thing with the disaster relief, Puerto Rico. When that hurricane came through last year, or the year before that, we
No
sent
roads.
we sent millions on millions of dollars in disaster relief and supplies there. You know what it did? It sat in a fucking shipping yard for months and just sat there and fucking rotted.
Because one, the infrastructure, nobody could get around the land. For two, all the U-Haul, whatever truckers, they were all on a quote unquote strike.
They all went on strike.
They all went on strike because they wanted more money for this. They couldn't get their shit going. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that went back between that.
The governor of Puerto Rico, it refused to take it, to stick it to Trump. That is the same thing. It's the same thing with refused to distribute. The governor refused to distribute that shit to stick it to Trump. Just like how in Katrina, their governor refused to allow our U.S. military to provide disaster relief to stick it to Bush. Which is once again that is a fucking issue. And until we have that shit sorted out in America, we have no business being involved in other countries. Period. Until my position across the board, until we have everything straight on our own turf, we have no business being involved in anything that's going on.
But you're never going to have it completely taken care of on your own turf. So what you're saying is you should never offer domestic help at all, ever. Because America is always going to have a problem, just like every other country. So what you're saying is, for a problem with a hurricane or an earthquake, you should never help because America all the time 100%. And unfortunately, when
I believe even that a nation's government is their first duty is to their own country and to their own citizens. And no matter what, that is always their first priority.
But that doesn't mean that you can't help with relief efforts for a disaster. Because it's not at America's expense anyways. Like, who the fuck dies in America because you guys went over and helped somebody with a hurricane?
It happens quite a lot.
Citation needed.
Well, it comes at the expense of taxpayers.
Okay. Hey, here you go. Okay, here you go. Okay, here we go.
And do not mix foreign aid and interfering with governments in domestic relief. We're talking about disaster.
I am. That's when people from my state, the National Guard from my state, there were a lot of people. There were quite a few people who fucking died when they got sent over to Puerto Rico. They go to for the fucking hurricane, whether it be sinking trucks in massive amounts of water, or whether it be kidnappings, whether it be whatever it may be. There are Americans who died as a result of that.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying if you send over for disaster relief that the people don't die. That's not what I meant. What I meant was, let's say Canada had a huge hurricane and you guys sent us help. What did America lose in doing that other than the soldiers they've sent there that may have died in a hurricane?
How is it? Where's the money that's being used to send that relief to Canada coming from? From the U.S. government.
Well then,
from the taxpayers.
So then, Canadian taxpayers should not help you ever.
No, because they're Canadian taxpayers, not American taxpayers.
We actually should. As Canadians, when we have a military that we're not using to fight a war and they're just sitting there and America needs us, we're going to be there.
We're talking past each other because we clearly have very different positions on this. I am a very staunch isolationist. I think that each country should be worried about themselves first and foremost. Everything else comes secondary. So
why can't you do both?
I really don't see.
Why is it mutually exclusive? Why can't you do both?
Because that's what isolationism is.
Yeah, but there's no reason why
is that like why you're isolationist or not?
Yeah, there's no reason why the two have to be mutually exclusive. Yeah, your nation first, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you can't help somebody when there's a disaster.
I'm not saying that there's no reason why we should ever help our friends. But what I'm saying is, is we need to be worried about ourselves first. And when I'm watching my own country go down in flames, we have no fucking business being involved in anything that's going on in any other country until we fix our own shit.
But there's never going to be a time when we don't need to fix our own shit. We're always going to be fixing something. Why do we have to be mutually exclusive? There's never going to be a time where America is so sturdy, they've got everything locked solid, we're good now. There's never going to be that. That's kind of a conundrum. And that's why I don't think they need to be mutually exclusive. Canada is not steady on its feet either. And yet, if tomorrow something happened to America, we'd still be there regardless if we need to fix our own shit, because that's just what good people do.
That's what you do for your friends and your allies. And they will thank you later and probably reward you. And the next time something happens, they'll be there for you.
The only way Canada could have beat the U.S. down there is that Canada offers service. The president invited them down to help. But it doesn't make sense because you got Mississippi right there.
With their National Guard. But Mississippi got too, no?
And you got Texas.
Yes.
Look at all the states around Louisiana. There's no way in hell that Canada beat the U.S. in there because the National Guard, Louisiana's National Guard, was already there. They were trying to evacuate the DAs that didn't want to leave.
When I was doing disaster relief, a week before hurricane stuff were set to make landfall, or the second that floods started, my phone's blowing up saying, "Hey, get your ass over here. You're packed for at least 2 weeks because it's fucking go time. Get over here. We're loading up and rolling out." It's an immediate thing.
Yeah, so basically, I looked this up just to make sure I was correct in stating this, but due to security and logistics issues in the disaster areas surrounding New Orleans, the team started operations on September 3rd. They saved 30 people on their first day. They were the first outside responders to arrive in St. Bernard Parish, beating American response teams. Canada got there first.
Because the governor refused to allow the military to come in.
Yep.
Which that in itself is a whole other issue that I could probably spend about another hour raging about.
And that's why I think being an isolationist is a flaw, because if everybody were an isolationist, Canada wouldn't have been there first. And now at the expense of your isolationist ideas, people die because.
People were going to die anyway because the DAs decided to stay. They drowned because they were too stupid to get their dumb asses out.
People are going to die anyway, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't
try.
They died because their fucking governor decided to put his own personal political agenda ahead of the welfare of his constituents.
Which is why you're lucky that Canada isn't an isolationist. See what I'm getting at?
Everybody died, but if Canada were not there to save 30 people, that's 30 people. That could have been your mom. That could have been your son. That could have been your uncle. That could have been something that you genuinely cared about. You know where I'm trying to go with this? I mean, everybody can.
I see where you guys are going with this.
Yeah.
But
if Canada was an isolationist, you would have had a problem.
We had a problem anyway. It was
with or without Canada.
Right.
But with Canada, you guys did a whole lot better. That's why I think isolationist thought can be a dangerous thing. Because, again, if Canada took your stance, there's 30 people that aren't there anymore. And yeah, people are going to die anyway, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Well, that a prime example of governments getting involved and stuff was Puerto Rico. I know for a fact that Walmart sent trailers upon trailers. I was told by Walmart management, they had 200 trailers sitting down there with 18 pallets of water.
so
You know where they
angry.
were going? Nowhere.
Angry.
Yeah.
Makes me so angry.
Yeah, exactly, Crappy.
Because
There were guys.
people were starving.
There were guys who I served with who were down there in Puerto Rico when that happened.
Waiting.
And it's like when they landed there, or when they're getting their shit when they're getting like their gear and shit off of the shipping container that was sending all their shit over there, when at those ports, it was just Connex upon Connex upon Connex exponential amounts, just sitting there rotting, being used only for homeless people to piss on because they were not fucking getting sent out. They were not being utilized for what they were supposed to do. They just sat there and collected dust.
I mean, I watched trailer after trailer at a place we used to pick up water at, and watch those Walmart drivers come in there, pick them up, and they were taking them to Norfolk to load the trailers on a ship to go to Puerto Rico. And they sat down there and did nothing.
You know what is interesting about that kind of an argument is, the government's fucked up, but the beauty of that is the people that went there because they wanted to make a difference. And to sit there and say we shouldn't do that ever means you're taking that virtue away from them.
That doesn't stop like humanitarian organizations.
That's not what I'm saying. When I'm saying we need to take care of ourselves on the home front first, I'm talking about government wise. When it comes to these private charities or to the charity of the individual, by all fucking means, and have at it. But it should not be a government. It should not be a national government issue. We need to take care of the home front first.
Yeah, but I bet you some of those soldiers that were there went there because they wanted to make a difference.
They did.
They was ordered.
I volunteered. There was a crew of us that volunteered, but half of us were ordered for Katrina at least.
Okay, but they shouldn't have been ordered to go there. They should have gone there on their own volition.
Yeah. When it comes to Puerto Rico, when it comes to Puerto Rico, I wanted to go, but they wouldn't send me.
That's a good thing.
Been a female down there
is
safe.
a good thing. And I don't think you should take away that choice because you think we shouldn't help people.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying I'm not saying you shouldn't help. I'm just thinking it should be up to personal choice rather than being forced into have to pay for it if you don't want it.
Well, when you sign up for the military, you know that you're going to get ordered to do things you might not necessarily like. That's kind of part of your voluntary contract of joining the military.
Sign on the dotted line.
I agree.
So the government may have forced people down there, but they didn't force you to sign up for the military. And when you join the military, you're going to be sent on missions you don't like and you might not come back from. And you willfully joined that contract to be a part of the military.
Oh, trust me.
It's
me.
still
I'm well
personal
aware
choice.
of this. I'm well aware of this.
Yeah, this is more of a rebuttal to Scotty. Because Scotty says, well, they shouldn't be forced to. Well, you know what? No one forced them to sign up for the military to begin with.
Yeah, which is what I'm talking. Which it comes with. I am absolutely fine with this stuff happening when it is we are taking care of ourselves on the home front. If it's like disaster relief for the United States, because God knows we need it. Because it's like, does anyone else remember when the 1,000-year flood happened in South Carolina?
Yeah.
I spent a month and a half. On disaster relief for that. That was in 2015? 2015, 2016. We still have not recovered from that.
I just think that it's just how dare you say that when other countries are willing to help you. Because Puerto Rico may have been a bad situation, but if Canada has a hurricane tomorrow, are you saying that America shouldn't come help us?
What I'm saying is we need to focus on ourselves.
That was a yes or no question. If you're saying we should focus on yourself, then what you're actually saying is no. Puerto Rico be damned.
Well,
but there are certain situations where disaster relief is a good thing. And now I'm going to throw Canada in there and say, if Canada had a big disaster, should America not help us the way we would help you?
I would say if we were asked,
for sure.
if we were asked to come and help, that's a different situation. We are asked, but America has a habit of just jumping in.
Exactly.
So does Canada.
We need to stop. We need to stop.
Canada does that too. Actually, for you guys. We weren't asked to help New Orleans. We just said go.
No. You had to be invited down here because you cannot have a foreign military doing work in the U.S. without being invited.
Yeah, but do you really think America said, Canada, come help us first? Or America said, we're on our way down there. Can we help you?
That's between the president and the governments and all that stuff. But a foreign government can just not send people without authorization.
Yeah, if we are asked to assist our allies, then that is a different story. But when it comes to just throwing a fucking blank check at foreign nations for whatever goddamn reason, that is something that needs to stop.
Oh yes.
Yeah, see the foreign aid part
that is what my issue.
My main issue is foreign aid, but I did have to draw a line between disaster relief and foreign aid to make a stance on that because they'll get lumped in together. And it's important to make a distinction because foreign aid in and of itself, I don't particularly agree with. However, there is one aspect of foreign aid that I do agree with. When Canada was asked to help Afghanistan protect women and children back in their country for peacekeeping missions, I agreed with that mission because that wasn't a war, that wasn't installing governments, that was just we need to protect women who were trying to go to school and such. Can you give us some peacekeepers to do that? That I agreed with.
What was it, Afghanistan and that asked you, or was it the United Nations?
It was Afghanistan. And that kind of foreign aid I do agree with. Now, the foreign aid that's just throw money at people and see if that fixes the problem, not so much. But particular aspects of foreign aid like Afghanistan for a prime example, I do agree with because we have set ourselves up as a nation of peacekeeping. That's what we do.
Well, at least we can agree on the throwing money at foreign nations. Yeah, I will add a caveat to my stance. And so when it's a direct request for help from an actually allied nation, that's a different story. All right, that would be on a case by case basis. But when it comes to just as willy nilly throw fucking money at shit, then no, I'm completely fucking against that. Once again, take care of ourselves first, and even on the other issues, we need to be looking out for the home front first. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to make sure that a government's first priority should always be for its own nation and its own citizens.
I agree. Like the PPC that is running right now in Canada wants to cut a lot of foreign aid and a lot of things that countries don't need. Like, for example, Trudeau gave $400 million for abortion funding in India.
Why?
Yeah, that's something that I would consider an absolute, like my own personal opinions on that be damned. On abortion be damned, it would just be that's just a complete fucking waste of money. That's just
money that could have been down to your own people who are suffering as well, to your neighbors, to government, something like that. You might as well just fucking
the government may as well have just taken that money and thrown it all into a trash can and lit a cigarette and thrown that in there, because that's all the fucking good that would do, when that money could have been used to help your own country, to help your own citizens.
Yep, I kind of agree with that stance. Like, a lot of foreign aid I don't agree with. There are certain aspects of foreign aid I do agree with. There are certain aspects of disaster relief that I'm like, yeah, we should help people. But just throwing money at places, like, for example, the foreign aid we threw at Haiti, where they did nothing, or Iran and Pakistan, where they're just taking the aid that should be for their citizens and building a militia out of it, that one we could probably do without. But I felt the distinction was important to make, because if you lump everything into foreign aid and saying I don't like it, then there are certain aspects of foreign aid that might be good versus throwing money into a pit of fire.
But it's like stuff like that. That would not be a direct call for help from an allied nation for a disaster relief. That's just us throwing fucking money at a problem, hoping it goes away.
Yeah.
There is only one problem throwing money at would get away with. That is if you have an intruder and coin shot in your shotgun.
Oh no. Okay, I was gonna say the only problem that throwing money at will help cure is if the stripper isn't topless yet. But yeah, back to the issue at hand. Yeah, there's a very it seems like we kind of agree on most of what we've been talking about here. Is that, and yeah, it seems like we spent a lot of the time talking past each other, but we should focus on ourselves, and really the only time we should be and we should only be getting involved in other countries when it is a direct call for help by an undoubted allied nation, and in my own personal belief, only when absolutely fucking necessary in extreme circumstances. Like,
yeah. I mean, I can agree with most of that. On a lighter note, Keanu Reeves is back as Neo for Matrix 4.
Oh God, why?
Yeah,
I just pretend that Matrix 2 and 3 didn't exist. There's only one Matrix movie as far as I'm concerned. Don't get me wrong, I love Keanu Reeves and Hugo Weaving, but I don't see every Matrix movie outside of the first one is like Godfather 3. I refuse to acknowledge its existence.
How do you feel about Animatrix? And real fast, I forgot to do this. Goon! How are you?
Anna what?
You've never heard of the Animatrix? Yeah, there was an animated Matrix thing. I don't remember if it was a movie or a cartoon.
I don't know how I feel about it because I've never.
Is it a slow news day? Is it?
It's not a slow news day. I just thought, on a lighter note, it's like a half hour to 9, and I figured, you know what, we have talked about this foreign aid thing long enough. Let's move on. I mean, I could show the fact that I'm doing a battery fund, and I have 9 days to reach my goal of $50 for batteries. The joke isn't that I need it for a vibrator. The joke was I needed it for a vibrator, but really, Trucker showed me a new bubble machine. Yeah, he showed me a new bubble machine, and I need to get some rechargeable batteries so my son can have all kinds of bubbles all day long. And he's like, why don't you set it as a donation goal? And I said, good idea. So yeah, it's not actually for my vibrator. It's a new bubble machine for my son.
And that is streamlabs.com/blindgirl1 to help blind girl get batteries for her vibrator.
Yeah, I thought that was a funnier thing. But so I have a bubble machine that my son super loves, and then Trucker showed me a bubble machine that has twice the amount of bubble blowing power, and I went, oh, must have one of these because my son
Okay,
would
you
just
know-
be delighted.
Okay, yep, even better cause. Streamlabs.com/BlindGirl1 for on $50. You can help make a young boy. You can help make a young autistic boy's day
Exactly.
or week or month.
I
But-
think
and
the bubble machine is a necessity for all those that have autistic kids.
fuck it. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna bring back the bit. You know what? If you motherfuckers get at that $50 raised, as I'll fucking stick a piece of cardboard with super glue onto my leg again and
Oh,
rip that shit
Jesus,
off.
dude. I mean,
you're
yay,
gonna-
but wow.
Fuck it. Hey, it's for a good cause, goddammit. And I've had enough liquor that it probably wouldn't hurt too badly tonight.
You're gonna regret that tomorrow, though.
I absolutely am, but I regret a lot of things the next day. So
So, yeah, but this news story starts
Yeah,
off
like my
with
existence. No, I'm just kidding.
time to choose the red pill all over again. Matrix 4 is in production and will bring back Keanu Reeves as Neo and Carrie Ann Moss as Trinity, though I thought she was dead, but okay, with Lana Wachowski writing and directing the film, reports Variety? Okay. 20 years have passed since The Matrix, oh god, I am that old, opened in the US on March 31st, 1999. Computer-generated imagery was revolutionizing special effects. Videotapes were giving way to DVDs, and this article is making me feel fucking ancient. They're gonna go over all of the films and stuff. The Matrix grossed $463 million in ticket sales worldwide and kickstarted the Matrix franchise, which included video games, an animated feature, and 2 more films. Yeah, so that's going to be great. Warner Brothers Pictures didn't immediately reply to a request for comment about the new film because, why not? And that's all they have to say about it, other than they wrote down, all the other films and what happened, which you already know. So, yeah, that's a thing. It's a thing.
Is there any more things?
There could be. Oh, suspect in El Paso attack is now on suicide watch. Because we all know how that went for the last guy.
Woo! On suicide watch. I wonder when he's gonna hang himself.
No, this one doesn't know anything about the Clintons, so it should be fine.
Are you sure? Are you sure he wasn't?
Hashtag we're not sad.
Are you sure he wasn't on parole tread? Are you sure?
Hold on. I, Mr. Misanthropic, believe that the Clintons are completely innocent. On a completely unrelated note, I am satisfied in life and in good health. I have no plans on committing suicide, and I have no medical issues that would result in death. If I commit suicide or have a sudden medical emergency that results in my death, please investigate it as a murder.
Please do the same for me.
I believe the Clintons are pedophiles.
I think they are too.
Oh,
100.
Well, Cuban, if we don't hear from you tomorrow, we know why.
I've talked about it for so many years. I'm sure they got
Oh, by the way, Crappy
whatever.
dropped out. So, Trucker, if you want to resume your place as the truck, feel free.
My depression is perfectly under control. The pills have it down. I am not suicidal.
My health issues are under control. It's a good period of time.
Alright, moving on.
The best.
The shooter in El Paso Walmart case is currently on suicide watch. Patrick Crucius, charged with killing 22 and injuring 25 on August 3rd, was placed under close guard Monday on the recommendation of medical staff.
You're gonna have to let me back in, Blingo.
Okay. So yeah, this guy's on suicide watch. Yay. Good job.
Look how happy. Oh, wait. No, the stream can't see how happy I am. I'm smiling.
Damn it.
I like being able to switch the avatars at will.
So Walmart is suing Tesla over fires at stores using its solar panels.
What?
Yeah, that's a thing. So yeah, the Washington Times says Walmart sues Tesla for solar panels that went up in flames. Let's see. Can I close this? Okay, there we go. Alright, so Walmart sued Tesla for gross negligence on Tuesday, saying that the electric car company's energy division installed solar panels that went up in flames on its store rooftops. The retailer said fires broke out at 7 store rooftops between 2012 and 2018, causing millions of dollars in damage. One location in Ohio had to be closed for 8 days, Walmart said in the complaint.
So basically once a year.
There was a fire.
Yeah. I'm gonna need. Let me look up. Let me do a quick DuckDuckGo search to see if that's like a thing that happens with solar panels.
Well, I mean, eight
Oh,
of them
solar
have done
panel
it.
fire hazard. Let's see. Fire hazard through solar panel.
Inspections found that several of Tesla's solar panels were broken and wires were hanging out, causing a fire hazard. In the lawsuit, Walmart said Tesla engaged in widespread systemic negligence and failed to abide by prudent industry practices in installing, operating, and maintaining its solar systems.
Okay, so I'm assuming that maintenance was Tesla's responsibility.
Probably.
Because I was about to say, because if it wasn't, if like according to their contracts or whatever, if maintenance wasn't Tesla's responsibility, then this lawsuit will get immediately thrown out.
Well, I'm assuming the solar panel maintenance was their responsibility. It's like getting, a gas heating or water heating or whatnot, where you call the company and say, "Hey, it's broken, come fix it." Because I'm assuming you would need a specialized mechanic to do so, and if it's a Tesla solar panel, you would need a Tesla person to fix it.
So I'm looking at it, and it's like what it's saying is that from what I'm looking at, it can be a fire hazard if, for example, they're improperly installed. If there's an electrical issue, then solar panels can be a fire hazard. Especially because solar panels are not something that can be turned off.
Yes. So Walmart said it had deals with Tesla Energy, formerly known as Solar City, to install and maintain solar panels on 244 Walmart stores. In May of last year, Walmart said it demanded that Tesla disconnect all the solar panel systems it had installed. But Walmart said another fire still occurred at a California store, even though the panels had been disconnected for several months. The company said that the wires on the store's rooftop were still sparking when it discovered the fire.
Okay. All right. Well, then, yeah, that's definitely a big boo-boo on Tesla. But does it say anything about like preventative and protective measures that were taken that I assume would have been taken by the store, considering
They just did.
Considering the fire hazard.
Disconnect the solar panels. So if the wires were still sparking, then obviously they're not disconnected, are they? Walmart
That's true.
said disconnected these solar panels. So yeah, they did take preventative measures.
Hey, we always need someone to play devil's advocate here. So, because from what I'm looking at, it's like there are several like preventive measures that whatever building these are installed upon are supposed to take like preventative measures to prevent fires and stuff. But so if it says that these were disconnected and the wires were still sparking, well, one is I already said you can't really turn off a solar panel, but it's okay. Yeah, so far this is definitely looking like a big boo-boo on Tesla's part.
Tesla has had a lot of stuff that just randomly catches fire lately. They had their battery walls catch fire like a couple months ago, or quite a few months ago.
A bunch of car batteries.
The battery wall for like your home, where the power would be stored.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because, yeah, that is a massive goddamn fire hazard. I don't know why I frankly don't even know why that's allowed in people's homes. Because that's such a goddamn fire hazard, it's not even funny.
Why didn't Monica Lewinsky mysteriously die? I think my brother is playing devil's advocate to the Clintons kill people theory. Why is she still alive if people who have dirt on the Clintons mysteriously die? That's a good question, bro.
No, the problem is the Clintons
hold on.
got.
I actually have an immediate response to that. Okay.
Me too.
Because Monica Lewinsky, what she did with the Clintons, what she did with Bill Clinton was her consensually sucking him off. What happened with that? Bill Clinton got embarrassed. There's nothing illegal about getting a blowjob. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Hold on 1 second. Let me finish.
I'm so sorry.
Green, and there's something loud in the background.
I have no clue. Sorry.
I'm sorry, but also, I don't. Also, all right. So if having dirt on the Clintons is not a suicide sentence, why does the Clinton family have 56 former associates, all of which had dirt on them, that have committed suicide in impossible ways?
Yeah, but Monica Lewinsky did cause Clinton to get impeached, so why is she still alive? Like, if you're gonna say
Monica Lewinsky did not cause Bill Clinton to get impeached. He did not get impeached by getting a blowjob from an intern. What he got impeached for was lying to Congress.
Correct.
That was what got him impeached. It's the same thing that got Nixon impeached.
Yeah, but how did we figure out he was lying?
The DNA sample on her dress.
So she should have been dead then, shouldn't she?
The baby gravy that was on her dress.
Yeah, one exception doesn't make the rule.
If she would have died right then and there would have been some, suspicions, because this is a president having with her. She was too much in the limelight. Give it 5, 10 more years. We may find her hanging somewhere else.
Yeah, but wait.
That's only one exception. That's one exception, though.
No. The rule is if you have dirt on the Clintons, you're dead. So one exception doesn't make the rule, but if the rule is you have dirt on the Clintons, you're dead. Monica Lewinsky should be dead.
What was it that you said, blind girl? Except the exception that proves the rule. Because Monica Lewinsky did not have dirt on the Clintons. What she did have was Bill Clinton's dick in her mouth.
And DNA on her face.
What got him impeached was him lying under oath to Congress.
Yeah, but they could have easily destroyed that evidence. Come on now. If they were really that good at getting away with it, they could have easily destroyed that evidence.
He didn't know that evidence existed. She had to tell what's her face.
Nobody
who knocked on her and go to the video recordings.
Nobody knew that evidence existed until that infamous picture of Monica Lewinsky with the white splotch on her dress.
That she showed one of her friends who went out to the media and burst it out there.
Yeah.
What was her chunky friend's name? The blonde one?
I don't fucking know.
She was the one that dimed Monica Lewinsky out and recorded her and went to the Congress with all this. Because Monica thought she was her friend. She didn't know she was being recorded at the time either. She showed her the dress, everything.
You realize, ladies and gentlemen of the chat, this is a prime example of bending facts and evidence to fit your own take on what's really going on.
How is it?
We're changing all of the evidence all over the place to fit your theory.
How?
Well, she's so alive because this, and because this, and because this. But all these other people are dead because this, and this is why. Like, you literally are taking a bunch of facts and bending it around to what you believe.
Because Monica Lewinsky has never gone to the Supreme fucking Court or any kind of court to bring charges up against Bill Clinton. Or Hillary Clinton. These other people who have all miraculously committed suicide, all were going to. Oh.
Yeah, for example, no, she's just making a movie about it.
Let me finish. Jeff Epstein had the little black book with everything in it. You had motherfucking Seth Rich, the guy who originally leaked the DNC emails to WikiLeaks. You have all these people who it all fits the same thing. It's not whether or not you have dirt on the Clintons. It's whether or not you have dirt on the Clintons and are going to talk. That is what makes you suicide yourself. Not whether or not you have bad opinions about the Clintons or whether or not you have possible dirt on them. It's whether or not you're going to sing like a fucking canary and put them away. That's what makes you off yourself. Christ.
I mean, hi, but
I mean, the thing is, Blind Girl, you're not doing the same thing though. You're not ignoring all the facts and saying, well, this is one exception to that rule.
No, actually, I'm ignoring the conspiracy until there's actual provable facts to prove that they actually did it, not just circumstantial. Well, it could have been until we actually.
This goes beyond circumstantial.
If it went beyond circumstantial, they'd be in jail.
They're never going to go to jail. They're never going to go to jail. They have too much dirt on everybody.
When you reach a certain level of wealth and power, laws literally no longer apply to you. That is why you have people. That is why Jeffrey fucking Epstein walked free for years and years. That is why you have all. That is why you have all of these. That is why you have the entirety of fucking Hollywood being run by fucking pedophiles and sex criminals. And no one's doing a goddamn thing about it. That's why the Me Too movement came as a fucking shock to nobody who was paying attention. Because as every single person who's been asked about said, everybody knew this was going on. But when you have this level of money and power, you are untouchable.
Well, Epstein had a lot of money and power, and he was not untouchable, apparently.
Yeah, he was that is what we call saving face. And what do you know? Oh, the guy who had allegedly cut a deal to sing like a goddamn canary and turn over his little black book. What happens? Oh, the guards who were supposed to be watching him decided to take just a 3-hour nap in the middle of their shift. If the camera malfunctions and a 6-foot-tall man manages to hang himself off of a bunk bed, and people hear screaming from his cell. Oh,
well,
what do you know?
I guess so good at getting away with things. This directly says, dude, this is totally not like. There's so much evidence that it's not a suicide. If they're really good at getting away with stuff, all this fucking evidence would not be there.
Particularly, they talk about the hyoid bone that is actually crunched when somebody is strangling you. Physics. If you talk about physics, right? You're talking about only mass. The way Jeffrey Epstein's, the shit was around his neck, it should have been lower underneath his Adam's apple, not up here where it's like it's a hyoid. Because and the leaning in.
Also, for example, only 9% of people who are hung who are either hung or hang themselves will have even one broken bone in their neck, and that's the most you can hope for. Epstein had
all this
9.
stuff that you guys just said does not answer my question. If the Clintons are so good at getting away with stuff, why is all of this evidence just there to say it's not a suicide for us all just to click on the news?
Because there's nothing fucking we can do. What can we do?
Because
there was nothing we could do about it before.
The evidence has always fucking been there. This is just the first time people are goddamn noticing it.
I just don't have billions of dollars.
This is just the first time that it has been put into the public light, and people are finally being able to put 2 and 2 together.
I don't think so.
The evidence has always fucking been there. This isn't a new thing.
Trucker.
What happened to poking holes in? What happened to poking holes in my conspiracy?
We got 4 minutes until 9. That's what happened. Trucker.
Well, you want the team to have debate on it, though.
I don't actually want to have a debate on it. I don't fall. I'm not a
It
conspirator.
was a good. It was a good discussion.
That was not a discussion. That was literally reading from the conspiracies. And
it's not reading. I'm telling you, here's what we see, here's what we know. Oh, you're talking about Occam's razor. The simplest solution is the correct one. What is the use fucking Occam's razor to take a look at what's going on here. It is once it's a happenstance, twice it's a coincidence, 56 fucking times it is a pattern, and you cannot deny it. You cannot make enough of an effort to deny that there is a fucking connection.
ladies and gentlemen, I am the pumpkin trucker. Not doing anything tomorrow because it's my day off. Go see Scotty tomorrow at some time, and then come on back here where you might actually get
tomorrow.
Even though he's not streaming tomorrow, and then come on back here where you might actually hear Cubane say.
Please like, subscribe, share, follow my beautiful blind girl, my Mr. Misanthropic, my wonderful opinionated Scotsman, and my lovely Green Thunder Demighty. Check out their channels, like them, great videos, good stuff, and you will hear me say, you'll never catch me. All right.
God damn it.
The Last Ghost Poo is tomorrow. Watch it. I don't know whose channel it is on because I don't pay attention to the poo.
I think it's Drunkle. That's why I'm not streaming tomorrow, because nobody's going to watch my fucking stuff tomorrow.
Alright, anyways, thank you for listening, guys. Bye!
Bye.